Part 13. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 121. Seeing the dozens of messages about his little cousin that were flooding the screen, Zhang Cheng had three big question marks in his mind. What is this for? Scroll up and find the same message. Zhang Cheng couldn't help but type a message in the input box and send it. What are you doing? Not even a minute after the message was sent, Chen Xiaoxi replied to herself. Cousin, it's urgent. Are you free tomorrow? On the other side of the Magic City, Chen Xiaoxi was lying in a pink room. Seeing that the cousin she had longed for finally responded to her, she tapped the screen with two fingers frantically. Why are you so anxious? Zhang Cheng replied. Come to school as quickly as possible tomorrow. Qing Ying's wife was called a bitch in the school library yesterday, and her family members were also scolded, and they even wanted to beat her. I'm just asking you to take care of this matter. When Zhang Cheng saw the message from Chen Xiaoxi, his head felt empty. Then he took a breath. In the Magic City, Su Qingying was insulted and someone still wanted to hit her? The cold light gradually rose in his eyes. A sense of anger quickly rose in his chest. Kill. Zhang Cheng didn't mean to kill someone himself, but someone was going to die, and even the family behind him would suffer. Su Qingying's identity, no one in the Magic City dares to say what to do to her. It is no exaggeration to say that her identity is a terror. The granddaughter of the previous leader. My parents are the pinnacle figures of the entire Dragon Country medical system, and my uncle runs a Fortune 500 company. Such a person was almost beaten in school. What happened? Who did it? After being shocked, Zhang Cheng didn't bother to type and directly sent a voice message. Song Yi, Song Qing's cousin, when he heard the news that Qingying was your girlfriend, he came over to make trouble. If Lu Qiang hadn't been in the classroom at that time, Song Yi would have wanted to fight Qingying, Chen Xiaoxi said with a hint of tone in her tone. With anger. Zhang Cheng could imagine how angry his chubby little cousin was now. Qingying's wife left school without saying a word today. I'm afraid she won't come back, so you must come over tomorrow to teach Song Yi a lesson. When Zhang Cheng saw this message, he naturally replied, Okay, I understand. I'll be there at noon tomorrow. When Zhang Cheng came over, it was naturally not so simple to beat up Song Yi. Song Yi is the second direct male member of the Song family and the son of Uncle Song Cheng. Now that Song Cheng has entered the court, the trial will begin in 2 days. So Song Yi became the latest successor of the Song family. As the new generation successor, Song Yi naturally knew that his family's current situation was caused by Zhang Cheng's appearance. So when he heard that Su Qingying was Zhang Cheng's girlfriend, he couldn't wait to come to find trouble, hoping to build his own image. Of course, he also established a mighty image in front of his younger brother today. Okay, send me a message when you arrive and I will take you there. After reading the last message from his little cousin, Zhang Cheng put away his phone. Song family. This is really a pig training. Originally, you could live for a long time. Now that you are here, you can almost get out of the Magic City lying on the wicker chair, Zhang Cheng murmured. Talk to yourself. The Song family is really being cheated by pigs now. It's not good to offend anyone, but I chose to offend Su Qingying. A sneer appeared at the corner of Zhang Cheng's lips. Since you want to kill Qingying's sister. Song Yi, just wait to die. Zhang Cheng didn't just talk, he was very serious. Song Qing was just sent to prison to spend the rest of his life, behaved well, and was released after spending decades in prison. Song Yi, he must die. At 8 o'clock in the evening, inside a KTV in Magic City. More than a dozen young people were swaying in the presidential box. In the center of the sofa, a young man who was somewhat similar to Song Qing, imitated Song Qing and wore a fashionable brand name. Song Yi had a proud look on his face. He could be said to be feeling very proud these past 2 days. First, his grandfather personally summoned him and told him very pleasantly that he should be better and study hard. When he returned home, his father explained to himself that his grandfather wanted to train him as the next president of the song group. The reason is that my idiot cousin touched something he shouldn't have touched and was fucked by a group of big shots. It is estimated that if he is not more than 10 or 20 years old, his cousin will not be able to get out. So he was abolished. Since he was a direct relative, he was naturally trained as the next successor. Young Master Yi, that girl is so mean today. She even dares to scold you. A loser ran to Song Yi and apologized with a sullen face. Song Yi glanced at him. What do you know? That person is Zhang Cheng's cousin, and her family has a big family worth billions. Naturally, she has her arrogance. Yes, but compared to Yi Xiao, that girl is still far behind. Listening to the compliments of the losers around him, Song Yi felt extremely useful. If that man named Lu hadn't stopped me, I would have slapped that woman long ago. It's not her fault that she's good looking. It's the biggest mistake she's ever made in her life if she dares to be Zhang Cheng's good-for-nothing mistress. Go to her classroom tomorrow to see if she's here. If she comes, I must hit her this time and slap her hard on Zhang Cheng's face. If she dares to stumble our Song family, don't look at what she is doing now. Identity. Song Yi took a sip of wine with a sinister smile on his face. He must find some dignity here, otherwise the cats and dogs will think that the Song family is easy to bully. I want to show them that I, Song Yi, is more ruthless and more promising than Song Cheng. A down and out person can be put in jail. What a waste. Calling a few more brothers tomorrow to look for trouble together. The man named Lu dared to bring people to stop him, and even beat him together. I don't have any intention of forcing him to do it. Song Yi turned his head and shouted to the loyal brothers who had been trying to please him. Don't worry, boss. I spent money to find 10 people from outside the school. When the time comes, I will let them sneak into the school and work together to create big things. Song Yi nodded with satisfaction. Good job. If you are caught by then, you will take this matter down. If it makes a big fuss, you will be fired. I guarantee that you will follow me in the future. When the loser heard this, he was immediately overjoyed and quickly promised, leave it to me, don't worry. Living with the future successor of the Song family is much more promising than studying in school. Song Yi was very satisfied with this loser's reaction. He knew that big shots would cultivate some power of their own, and obedient people were the most suitable. Just like his cousin, isn't it the same? He cultivated a triumvirate of underground forces to do those shameful things for him. This guy is quite decent and suitable. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 122. On the outskirts of Magic City, in a manor. There are a lot of security forces guarding the outside, but they are not visible. Secretly, many people are on guard against sudden danger, and each of them is equipped with a weapon. Gun. Tightly guarded. This is where the previous generation of chiefs lived, and not many people know who lives here. All I know is that no one can afford to mess with the people who live here. At this time, inside the manor, the sound of piano drifts. An old man with gray hair and a Chinese tunic suit sat in the courtyard with his eyes slightly closed. The whole person has a majestic aura that makes people afraid to look directly at him. This is a kind of coercion that naturally comes from being in a high position for a long time, holding power and being in charge for many years. The old man was humming a tune, as if he was enjoying listening to the music floating in the courtyard. Until the sound of the piano gradually fell, the old man slowly opened his eyes and said with a kind smile, "Little girl, why is the music played this time different from the previous ones? It sounds a little sad." In front of the piano, there is a beautiful short-haired girl with an ethereal temperament like an elf. Those slender white hands moved away from the piano keys. Smart eyes. Looking at the old man lying in the courtyard, he chuckled and said, "Grandpa, how could you hear that?" Su Qingying stood up, walked to the old man and sat down, picked up the teapot on the stone table and poured a cup of green tea. "Ha ha, little girl has been playing the piano in front of me for so many years. If Grandpa still doesn't understand, then Grandpa is useless." The old man took the teacup, took a sip, and said with a smile, "How have you been at school lately?" Mr. Su put down his teacup and fanned the big fan in his hand, creating a cool breeze. Su Qingying ate the pastries on the plate and smiled, "It's not bad. It's not good to lie in front of Grandpa, little girl." However, Mr. Su said directly. Su Qingying has been following her since she was a child. It can be said that he understands the emotions of his precious granddaughter better than anyone else. Mr. Su is extremely precious to Su Qingying. Even his two extremely outstanding grandsons cannot compare with Su Qingying. In the old man's heart, men should accept various setbacks and tests, rather than taking shortcuts relying on family background. Girls are meant to be pampered. Having a considerate and warm little cotton padded jacket is much more comfortable than having two fur monkeys. "It's really okay." Su Qingying shook her little head, still maintaining the same smile. "Tell the truth," Mr. Su said, pretending to be serious. The beautiful smile on Su Qingying's little face gradually disappeared. After a long silence, he told Mr. Su what happened today in a calm tone. The more the old man listened, the lighter the smile on his face became. After Su Qingying briefly described all the processes today, Mr. Su's face showed no expression. His face was as plain as water. "Are you from the Song family?" Mr. Su was silent for a while and said slowly. Su Qingying nodded slightly. Mr. Su nodded, then picked up his cell phone from the stone table, found his youngest son's contact information from the address book, and called him. The youngest son, Su Quan, is the founder of a Fortune 500 company. Likewise, he did not provide any convenience to his younger son, nor did he allow him to use his reputation to do these business matters. He relied entirely on him alone. Made with hard work. And its current ranking among the Fortune 500 is not low. Net revenue is close to tens of billions. It is definitely much better than the so-called $800 billion companies in Shanghai. "Dad, what's wrong?" The call was quickly connected, and a strong voice came from the other end. Mr. Su did not reply to him, but said, "The Song Group in the Demon City." After saying that, the old man hung up the phone. Putting down his phone, Mr. Su slowly closed his eyes. After a long while, the old man said slowly, "Next time you encounter something like this, just call Grandpa directly. We won't cause trouble, but we won't be afraid of it, you know. Their family keeps a low profile and does not do anything detrimental to the country. Everything is done by individuals. But it doesn't mean that they will really tolerate it. If someone threatens the safety of their family members, then don't blame yourself for using some force to suppress them. But it really should be suppressed." Su Qingying was eating the pastry quietly on the side without any expression, just nodded calmly. "Tomorrow, let Xiao Zhang go to school with you." Time passed and it was 11 o'clock sharp the next morning. Zhang Chen drove Lu Feng's Lamborghini and roared into the Shanghai School of Finance and Economics. Chen Xiaoxi, who received the news in advance, was already waiting for Zhang Chen at his usual place. Seeing Zhang Chen walking out of the Lamborghini, Chen Xiaoxi walked over with a bound. "Cousin, what were you doing yesterday? I sent you so many messages and you didn't reply to me." When she came to Zhang Chen, Chen Xiaoxi looked at Zhang Chen angrily. Zhang Chen was not polite and directly pinched the fat little face of the baby who came to the door. Then he smiled and said, "My cousin has so many things to do, he doesn't have time to look at prestige all the time. It's my fault." "Humph, it's good that you know you're wrong. Come with me." I'll take you to see Qingying's wife. She hasn't spoken all day and is in a bad mood. Chen Xiaoxi clapped her big hands away skillfully, then took Zhang Cheng and walked towards the classroom. Walking through the familiar tree-lined paths, we came to a teaching building. Go up to the third floor and find the second classroom on the left. The first thing Zhang Cheng saw was Su Qingying sitting in the middle. Quiet and light. A white dress perfectly brings out her temperament. Su Qingying sat there quietly, her whole body like an epiphyllum. There were many students playing in the classroom. As soon as Zhang Cheng came in, many people raised their heads and cast a surprised look at him. They also knew Zhang Cheng, and Zhang Cheng left a very deep impression on them that night. Therefore, when he came in, everyone was surprised. Following Zhang Cheng's gaze, they saw Su Qingying sitting in the middle, and they were not surprised anymore. I came here to see my girlfriend. Zhang Cheng was pulled by his little cousin and came to Su Qingying's side. Qingying wife, my cousin is here to see you. I couldn't stop him, so I had to bring him up to find you. The little cousin smiled and pushed Zhang Cheng to sit next to Su Qingying. Su Qingying turned away her little head, looked at Zhang Cheng and smiled, long time no see. Snapped. Zhang Cheng suddenly put his big hand on Su Qingying's little head, gently rubbed her short hair, and said dotingly, little fool. For a moment, everyone in the classroom was dumbfounded. What the? Could you please stop spreading such sweet dog food in front of us? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 123. So sweet. Seeing Zhang Cheng's behavior, everyone in the classroom suddenly felt bad. Why? I didn't do anything wrong. Why do you do such an intimate thing to my goddess in front of me? The sound of heartbreak sounded. The boy looked at Su Qingying and felt so uncomfortable. This is the goddess I have been secretly in love with for a long time. Yakingja. The girls looked envious. Zhang Cheng was handsome and rich. He was the Prince Charming in the hearts of all girls. Now, Prince Charming is getting along with other princesses. Su Qingying was in a daze, feeling the warmth from Zhang Chenda's hand, and the smile on her face froze. The little head twisted slightly, with some resistance. Move quickly, Su Qingying whispered. Hey, okay. Zhang Cheng grinned, rubbed it twice more, and then let go of his hands. He has always maintained a very doting attitude towards Su Qingying. This girl made him feel like an elf, able to bring a relaxed mood to people. Including getting along with her, it is also very relaxed, but also very interesting and nervous. Because she was afraid that she would catch some clues about the fact that she was raising fish, and then find out. After all, in the original work, Su Qingying is a girl that even the protagonist cannot get. She is too perfect. Why didn't you tell me what happened yesterday? Zhang Cheng put down his hand, moved closer to Su Qingying, and asked softly. Su Qingying raised her eyebrows and said with a smile, it's not a big deal. Besides, Mr. Zhang Cheng, our relationship has not matured to the point where I have to report everything to you. Of course, we are familiar with it. In the eyes of your classmates, I am your real boyfriend, Zhang Cheng said plausibly. He does not regard himself as an outsider at all. In fact, Zhang Cheng only had dinner with Su Qingying once, played the piano once, and pretended to be her boyfriend once. You are not even willing to send people good morning, lunch, and good night every day on WeChat. What qualifications do you have to say that we are familiar with each other? The reason Zhang Cheng didn't do this was because he wouldn't give Su Qingying the feeling of clinging to her. This kind of girl will want to have her own independent space, and greeting her from time to time is the best way to chat. If you don't find a common topic, just get together every morning, lunch, and night, and tell her all kinds of news. Girls will just find you annoying. Very dog-licking. Therefore, you must let yourself take the initiative. If you don't have a common topic to talk about, don't send messages all the time, as that will make people disgusted. As a man who had learned a lot about flirting with girls, Zhang Cheng knew this. Hearing Zhang Cheng's words, Su Qingying blinked. Mr. Zhang Cheng, I can't tell that you are quite narcissistic and a serious person. In fact, if Zhang Cheng didn't say this, she would really forget it. Of course, I will take everything you say seriously, Zhang Cheng smiled. The first step in flirting with a girl is to have fun chatting with her, and the chat topic must be pleasant. Hearing this, Su Qingying burst into laughter like a silver bell. I don't think Zhang Chengzhen would take it seriously, but hey, I'm happy to hear it. Ding. Su Qingying's favorability add to. The notification sound in his mind made Zhang Cheng's smile warmer. No matter how beautiful a girl is, as long as she doesn't say it in a dog-licking tone. As long as you praise yourself, you will be very happy. Zhang Cheng suddenly admired himself a little. He was really a genius at seducing girls who was delayed by his identity. Then why did you come to school this time? After laughing, Su Qingying said softly. Let's deal with some things, Zhang Cheng said calmly. In fact, she understood when she saw her best friend bringing Zhang Cheng in. Zhang Cheng is probably because of what happened yesterday. No need, someone has already taken care of it. Su Qingying looked at Zhang Cheng's face and shook her head seriously. When he came to school today, his grandfather had already arranged for someone to send him here. Songyi would definitely be warned. Grandpa even called his second uncle for this matter. During this period, there will definitely be someone close to you secretly protecting your safety. Thinking of this, Su Qingying glanced out the window from the corner of her eyes. Sure enough, a figure stood in the corridor staring at her classroom. It's okay, they handle theirs and I handle mine. Zhang Cheng's smile remained unchanged and his tone was gentle. Since the physical attributes were fully upgraded to 150, Zhang Cheng's body has changed a lot. Although it is not an exaggeration, it is definitely better than 99% of people. It has a qualitative change in hearing and acuity. Zhang Cheng also discovered unusual people outside. Bang bang bang. Suddenly, there was a knock on the classroom door. An extremely arrogant voice sounded in the classroom. Where's that man named Lu Qiang? Let him get out of the school. If he doesn't come out, he won't be able to hang out in the school. And that bitch named Su, come out too. College students fight in groups in the classroom. In fact, there are quite a few such incidents. But in high-end institutions such as Shanghai University of Finance and Economics, it is relatively rare. However, I can't resist some clever people coming out to make trouble, but even if they want to fight, they will leave the school and find a place with few people to fight. Otherwise, it is courting death. Apparently, these people are also smart enough not to cause trouble in school. However, the last words that this young man just said made many people's eyes flash with coldness. Not only Zhang Cheng, but also people outside the corridor. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 124. Several people's eyes flashed with coldness. And the young man had no idea how stupid he was. Because normal people would not say such unpleasant things in public. Just like when my father was Li Gang, trouble came from his mouth. As soon as he entered the door, he found Su Qingying sitting in the middle, extremely conspicuous. The young man's eyes lit up, and he walked quickly to the classroom. Su. However, what the young man wanted to say has not yet been said. Zhang Cheng quickly stood up, rushed out of his seat, walked towards him, and slapped the young man hard on the face. Suddenly, the entire classroom suddenly screamed. Sudden. It was so sudden that Zhang Cheng didn't give him a chance to speak. Just go up and slap him hard. Snapped. The young man was slapped to the ground and stared stupidly at the extremely handsome man in a suit in front of him. Then, there was a burning pain on his face, which instantly stung his nerves. "Ah! Who are you riding on the horse? You dare to hit me?" Everyone inside and outside the classroom was shocked. Zhang Cheng's actions really gave no reaction at all. Soon, several people brought by the young man were stunned, then rushed into the classroom and helped the young man up. "This slap is cool. Haha, you are so stupid. You have to slap this kind of idiot. He is uneducated. I don't know how he got into the Shanghai Academy of Finance and Economics. He can be so stupid. He must be in love with Song Yi. His lust makes him faint. In order to please Song Yi, he is not willing to be such a slave." In the classroom, Su Qingying's classmates didn't guess wrong either. This young man is indeed Song Yi's lackey. People who come from rural areas do not mean to look down on rural people. But some idiots will really do something for the sake of their future. Going back 3 generations, there is no one who is not a rural person. "You wild daddy," Zhang Cheng sneered. After saying that, Zhang Cheng suddenly kicked the young man again. Without giving them any time to react, huge force was poured out, and the young man and the people behind him were kicked to the ground by Zhang Cheng. "So what if you hit someone at school? Who is he?" "Zhang Cheng. It's not killing people in public, it's just beating people. It has no impact at all on a person of his status." Seeing Zhang Cheng's brutal behavior of going up to beat people without saying anything to them. "I don't know why, they just think it's so cool. Maybe it's because everyone is a civilized person. After all, when they meet such a foul-mouthed guy, everyone wants to go up and beat him up. In the eyes of boys, this kind of behavior only feels bold. In the eyes of girls, Zhang Cheng is too manly." They had experienced the scene in the library yesterday. Su Qingying was scolded like that by this group of people, and they were scolded again just now. As a woman, I still feel the same way, and no one wants to be called a bitch. A flash of anger turns beauty into beauty. Cousin is mighty. Cousin is awesome, Chen Xiaoxi watched with even greater enjoyment. As Zhang Cheng's biggest fan, Zhang Cheng's performance immediately made his little cousin happy. "My cousin still smells bad. Who are you on the horse? You dare to hit someone in school?" The young man covered his face, slurred and said angrily. He had no idea that he would be beaten as soon as he entered. This hasn't even started to show off yet. Zhang Cheng looked at him contemptuously and sneered, "You are here to trouble Su Qingying. Don't you know who I am? Silly beep." Zhang Cheng didn't want to say anything civilized to this kind of person. It has to be simple and crude. Hearing this, the young man's face changed wildly. Are you Zhang Cheng?" Although he knew Zhang Cheng and had seen Zhang Cheng from a distance, he still couldn't recognize him when he stood in front of him. But this does not hinder Zhang Cheng's reputation and the impact it has on him. Don't look at it, he is now Song Yukin's #1 younger brother. However, I am an extremely ordinary person, facing such a big shot. A child with low self-esteem can still tremble in his heart. Even if he is no longer a billionaire CEO. But he is not someone he can afford to offend. Hey, you idiot, you still know how to be afraid? Why, who gave you the courage to cause trouble? With that said, Zhang Cheng took a step forward, and the young man was so frightened that he backed away. Even the younger brother who was following him backed away in fear. What are you so proud of? I came to Luqiang, not you. The young man calmed down and said. Zhang Cheng was delighted. He changed his usual elegance and said arrogantly, can it be that you can afford to offend Luqiang? Don't you know he is mine? Luqiang blocked this group of people yesterday, and Zhang Cheng was a little surprised. After all, he was facing Song Yi, and Luqiang was still willing to stand up. I actually remembered him now. Luqiang's family is worth over 100 million, but he would be bullied by such a loser. As soon as the words came out, the young man choked immediately. I really do not know. As his expression kept changing, the voice that frightened him sounded again. Zhang Cheng came to the young man, grabbed his collar, and whispered in his ear. Since you just scolded me so honestly, why don't I smash your mouth to pieces and see if you still have a chance to speak? How? Hearing this, the young man felt chills all over his body. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 125. Break your mouth? He didn't think Zhang Cheng was just talking. He would really smash his own mouth? No, no, please don't do this. The young man was frightened, and his tone instantly turned into pleading. However, Zhang Cheng was unmoved and patted him on the shoulder. Zhang Cheng will not be soft-hearted because of this, he will just smash your mouth. Not taking your life is the greatest kindness to you. Zhang Cheng showed no mercy to these dogs. For these people who like to talk trouble out of their mouths, it was already good that he didn't kill them. If it was just because he begged for mercy, he would let him go. Is there any difference between myself and the Holy Mother? Just when Zhang Cheng was about to return to sit down next to Su Qingying, a hurried figure suddenly ran into the classroom. Which bastard is looking for trouble? Lu Qiang ran into the classroom panting. But when he saw the dumbfounded people on the classroom podium, Lu Qiang was stunned again. Looking in the direction of Su Qingying, Lu Qiang's body trembled. He quickly came to Zhang Cheng, lowered his head, and shouted respectfully, Mr. Zhang, why are you here? Lu Qiang was also a little afraid of Zhang Cheng's majesty, but the advantages outweighed the disadvantages. Since the last party, the orders from my family's company have surged, and money has continued to come in. Zhang Cheng didn't answer, glanced at him, and gave him a rare smile. You performed well yesterday. For your sensible sake, you can take over Tiancheng Group's cooperation. For a small company, cooperation is just that, but if Tiancheng Group cooperates with them, it will undoubtedly make the Lu Qiang family go further. The sudden arrival of the pie made Lu Qiang startled for a moment, and he stood there stupidly. What a big pie! Wait, isn't the president of Tiancheng Group Zhou Hao? Tiancheng, Cheng, Lu Qiang seemed to have grasped an important point and secretly took a breath. Lu Qiang looked ecstatic and hugged her with his thighs. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, this is what I should do. Seeing his ecstatic expression, Zhang Cheng had no expression and glanced at the classroom podium. Then he said calmly, these idiots are here to trouble you. Pull them out of the school and treat them well. Then, he whispered, hit the leader's mouth to pieces. There is no way, this is a school, there is no way to speak freely. If it is on Wulong's territory, there is no need to worry about this. Hearing Zhang Cheng's words, Lu Qiang was startled, and then his eyes turned cruel. Don't worry, Mr. Zhang, I will take care of it. Then, Lu Qiang called people to take those who came to him out of the classroom. As for the follow-up, it has nothing to do with Zhang Cheng. Returning to sit down next to Su Qingying, Zhang Cheng smiled slightly, I'm telling you a joke, don't pay attention. Su Qingying shook her head. It doesn't matter, if she is scolded like this, no matter how good-tempered she is, she will not show any so-called pity to these people. Thanks. Snapped. Zhang Cheng directly held her delicate, white, and delicate hand and said nonchalantly, you want to say thank you to me. Su Qingying tried to struggle several times, but her strength was too weak and she could only let him hold it. Seeing this scene, Chen Xiaoxi on the side was thoughtful, and then smiled. Chen Xiaoxi secretly said, it seems that Qingying's wife's favorability towards my cousin has skyrocketed, which is great. Wow, my wife was actually sent away by me myself. It's so difficult for me. The little cousin was unhappy again when she thought of her favorite eldest wife being given away to someone else. Although I have a large harem, my wife Qingying is always my favorite. Cousin, stop shaking it. Get out of class is about to end, you have to treat me to a big meal today, otherwise I won't be done with you. Chen Xiaoxi came back to her senses, saw Zhang Chen getting more and more aggressive, and hurriedly interrupted. Zhang Chen looked at his little cousin's chubby face, with a smile on his handsome face. Okay. At the same time, at the other end of the school, in the principal's office, a middle-aged man wearing a Mao suit and neatly combed black shiny hair held a teacup in his hand and drank tea with a calm expression. In front of his desk, the principal of the Shanghai School of Finance and Economics, with cold sweat on his forehead, was rummaging through the files. Mr. Su, this is Song Yi's file. The principal came to the sofa with the file and handed it to the middle-aged man. Su Zhong didn't even look at the message above. He put down his teacup and said with a smile, Principal Wang, this person's behavior is not good. My suggestion is to expel him. Principal Wang was stunned when he heard this, and said quickly, this is from the Song family. But when he saw the unchanging smile on Su Zhong's face, Principal Wang understood. Nodding, I know what you mean. Song Yi has offended someone he shouldn't have. He had never met the previous generation of chiefs with his own eyes, but he knew the man in front of him. The life secretary of the previous leader. Basically, if he takes action, he represents that person's intention. It also means that no one can protect Song Yi. Well, thank you Principal Wang for the hospitality. Now that the news has been conveyed, I will leave first. I also hope that Principal Wang will not tell this matter. Su Zhong stood up and walked out. Principal Wang did not dare to neglect, and also stood up and sent him out. However, as soon as he walked out of the door, he saw a man walking up and saying something in Su Zhong's ear. Principal Wang saw with his own eyes that this man's expression slowly changed. Principal Wang, these people have also been fired. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 126. At this moment, Su Zhong's face became extremely ugly. Principal Wang also changed his expression and said hurriedly, what happened again? Principal Wang is not a person willing to give up on his students. However, Su Zhong did not explain to him. He looked over and Principal Wang suddenly withered. I see. You are the boss, I can't afford to mess with you, I agree. Then I'll trouble you, Principal Wang. Remember to inform the whole school. Su Zhong nodded and left directly. Principal Wang was left standing at the door of his office, dumbfounded. It took him a while to come back to his senses, and he smiled bitterly and shook his head, just report it. Then he walked into the office, dialed a phone number, and read out all the names of the people Su Zhong mentioned. You mean there is a man who claims to be Qingying's boyfriend? And he holds her hand? Qingying didn't resist, Su Zhong asked doubtfully in the corridor. Beside him, the man whispered, yeah. Su Zhong thought for a while and said directly, let's go back. He couldn't make the decision on such a big matter, so he could only go back and explain it to Mr. Su and let him make a decision. In the campus, Lu Qiang and his men all looked unkind and walked out of the campus around Song Yi's younger brothers. Suddenly, the young man picked up his cell phone. After seeing the text message, he collapsed on the ground with a look of despair. Lu Qiang and the others looked at his actions with some confusion. They stepped forward and saw the text message displayed on his mobile phone. He gloated, tisk, tisk, I didn't treat myself as a dog, but I was fired. It's retribution. The SMS message showed, Student Hu Kabin, you have been expelled from the school. In the Song family's villa compound. Song Yun's Hung was lying in the shade of the villa garden taking a nap, feeling very comfortable. There is a pot of tea on the table next to him. Lying on the rocking chair, gently shaking the fan in your hand. What happened during this period gave him a headache. After finally having 2 days of peace, Song Yun-sung naturally wanted to take a good rest. Although Ye Tian, the tool man he was optimistic about, defected to someone else. Although his grandson Song Qing, whom he was optimistic about, went to jail. Although the company's stock price has plummeted during this period, it is not a big problem. Although we can't suppress the old guy from the Su family, it's not a big problem. After all, he has a grandson. So far, Song Yi's performance is pretty good and he can be considered a talent. When the time comes, he will be able to succeed the Song group if he gives some guidance. So Song Yun-sung was somewhat comforted. This was the benefit of having many children and grandchildren. Everything is still within control. At most, it's just the way it has been in the past. I can't do anything to you, and you can't do anything to me. After some operations, my Song family will still be a little stronger than the Su family. If this damn Zhongcheng hadn't caused trouble, my plan would have been almost completed. That old dog Shenhao would never have had the chance to survive until now. Song Yun-sung squinted his eyes and muttered to himself. Suppressing the Su family has been his lifelong obsession. As long as he can see the Su family fall, he is willing to shorten his life for a few years. Ye Tian is the same idiot. He betrayed you at the critical moment. Otherwise, I could have united the two families again. I am kind enough to help you become a successful person. I didn't expect you to be so ungrateful. Song Yun-sung couldn't help but snort when he thought of Ye Tian's face. Just when Song Yun-sung was about to take a nap, Song Yi-wei suddenly ran in, wearing professional attire, with a rare look of panic on her delicate face. "Grandpa, something big happened." Seeing her like this, Song Yun-chen's heart skipped a beat and he sat upright in the rocking chair. "What happened?" Song Yun-sung asked in a deep voice. Song Yi-wei ran into the yard, took a breath, and said in a panic, "Menghe group suddenly suppressed me, the Song family." According to the statements given by other companies, anyone who cooperates with us must consider the attitude of Menghe group. Hearing this, Song Yun stood up in confusion, his face changed drastically. "Menghe group? Are you sure? When did our Song group have friction with it?" Menghe group is the real super large enterprise in Longguo. Super companies that have entered the world's top 500 companies, like the Song group, are still at the bottom. And Menghe group is ranked as a super enterprise that is about to enter the upper reaches. If it goes against the Song family, even if the Song family is a $100 billion enterprise, it will be difficult to withstand such an offensive. It's not that there's friction in the group, it's because of personal reasons. A serious look appeared on Song Yi-wei's charming face. Personal reasons? What reason? Song Yun-sung immediately grabbed Song Yi-wei and asked. "I asked around in many ways, and it seems that the second brother provoked the niece of the chairman of Menghe Group, which made him angry." Song Yi-wei's eyes flashed and she told what she had learned. Hearing this, Song Yun-sung sat down slumped. Is this loser Song Yi a pig? It's only been a few days, but he's starting to make trouble for me. After a while of silence, Song Yun-sung became furious, picked up the teacup on the table, smashed it, and roared. However, he was still thinking that Song Yi was performing well. Suddenly, Song Yi-wei's cell phone rang, and Song Yun-sung stopped roaring and looked at her. Song Yi-wei crossed the phone to answer the call, and Song Yi's anxious voice came from the other end of the phone. "Sister, the school said they want to expel me, please help me find a way." Song Yun-sung grabbed the phone and shouted directly, "Get out. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO." Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 127. After saying that, Song Yun-sung wanted to smash the phone, but when he thought it belonged to Song Yi-wei, he resisted. "This trash, I thought just now that he was a nice person." In the end, he caused a big trouble in the blink of an eye. How dare you make a phone call? That is, not in front of him, otherwise he would have to break his hands and feet and throw him outside. Idiot, why are the descendants of my Song family all idiots? Song Yoon-hung was extremely irritable. What happened during this time almost made him depressed. After the chronic illness was cured, all kinds of troubles followed. He was not given any time to prepare and react. Song Ching had known about the accident a long time ago, so he was not particularly angry. After all, the forces that Song Ching cultivated had done a lot for the Song group and were somewhat useful. But this loser Song Yi is different. He was mediocre before and could still be read. As a result, just when he wanted to train him to be the successor of the Song family, he did this for himself. Song Yoon-hung almost vomited blood. Yi Wei, the company will still be run by you from now on. There is no need to train any successors. Song Yoon-hung sat down weakly, his voice helpless. Fortunately, Song Yi Wei never let him down. As for useless people like Song Yi, it's better to give up. It cannot be cultivated. Grandpa, don't worry. After a year or two, we will release this little brother from prison and train him well. He will still be qualified to be his successor. Song Yi Wei nodded. It's not that she doesn't want to be the CEO, but it's her brother. She can't bear to see her brother really suffer in prison for more than 10 or 20 years. Let's talk about it later, Song Yoon-hung said nonchalantly. It's too early to say this now. Moreover, it is not certain whether he can survive until that time. Just what happened in the past few days almost made him angry to death. Song Yi Wei's eyes flickered, not knowing what she was thinking. On the outskirts of the Magic City, Su Zhong returned to the manor and came to the living room, where Mr. Su was eating a light lunch in the restaurant. Chief, Ching Ying seems to have a boyfriend. Su Zhong stood aside and said. Mr. Su paused while picking up the food, then smiled and said, haha, it's okay. As long as you are a decent person, I'll hand it over to Ching Ying. However, I think the acting component may be greater. Su Zhong nodded when he heard this, but, I heard that the man was still holding Ching Ying's hand. Immediately, Mr. Su put down his bowls and chopsticks, picked up a paper towel and wiped his mouth, checked this person's background carefully and see if the 3 generations of his ancestors are innocent. Let's just fall in love, and still have sex? Don't you know whether men and women are intimate or not? Su Zhong nodded again and said, okay. Don't you just talk about it? Why did the tone of his conversation change as soon as he heard that Ching Ying was being held by someone? Granddaughter control. But he also understood that he had been with the old chief for many years, and he knew a thing or two about the old man's thoughts. This old man who once held the pinnacle of power has actually become a total granddaughter controller as he grows older. Su Ching Ying's status in his heart is not low. It was completely like caring for her like a little princess, and she was afraid of falling off even if she held it in her hand. Seeing that his granddaughter seems to be kidnapped, the old man will definitely not be as calm as he appears, and he will definitely be extremely sad in his heart. Mr. Su was in a daze at the dinner table for a while. When he woke up, he found that Su Zhong was still here. He couldn't help but be surprised. Xiao Zhong, why haven't you left yet? Su Zhong smiled, turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Not long after he left, he vaguely heard Mr. Su's voice coming from the restaurant. Hey, Xiaobai has grown up, and he has been targeted by pigs after all. We need to check it carefully. With a smile in his eyes, Su Zhong quickened his pace to investigate Zhang Cheng's identity and background. At this time, outside the restaurant, Zhang Cheng Gang took the 2 of them in to have a big meal, and the little cousin was stuffed. Chen Xiaoxi wore a pair of black jeans, a black graphic t-shirt and a peaked cap, with a red crossbody bag on her shoulder. Her round face with a little baby fat was full of satisfaction. Walking in front of me. Behind her, Su Qingying was wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, a khaki skirt, a sun hat, and shoulder-length hair parted to the side. Different from her younger cousin's youthful and lively appearance, Su Qingying has a more refreshing feeling. As Zhang Cheng, who led the two people out, was naturally envied by countless young people as they walked on the road. Walking behind, looking at the figures of the two girls, Zhang Cheng kept smiling. "Cousin, are you going to take us somewhere to go shopping later? Qingying is in a bad mood and urgently needs comfort. I can reluctantly go shopping with you." After jumping around for a while, Chen Xiaoxi stopped and waited for Zhang Cheng to catch up. Immediately holding his arm and shaking, Zhang Cheng looked at his little cousin's cute little round face and smiled. "You don't have to embarrass yourself. Don't you have any classes this afternoon?" Zhang Cheng asked. When Chen Xiaoxi heard this, she immediately responded, "No. There are no classes in the afternoon. So, do you want to take Qingying somewhere to play? Let us have fun." Standing aside, Su Qingying's delicate face showed a little helplessness. She felt happy and a little helpless to have such a best friend. Because lately, Chen Xiaoxi has always tried every means to sell herself to Zhang Cheng. "Xiaoxi, it's time for us to go back to school. Don't bother Mr. Zhang Cheng all the time." Su Qingying smiled slightly. "No, I finally caught up with the fact that there is no class today, so I'll let my cousin take us to have a good time, okay, Qingying wife." Hearing Su Qingying's words, Chen Xiaoxi immediately let go of Zhang Cheng's arm, quickly went over to hug Su Qingying and said coquettishly. If nothing else, Chen Xiaoxi really wanted to bring Su Qingying and her cousin together. In Chen Xiaoxi's eyes, Qingying's wife will get married anyway, so she might as well give her cousin an advantage, so we are all a family. Anyway, we can't let our cousin fall into Su Yao's hands. Su Yao is too weak. Ever since hearing what Zhang Cheng said that day, Chen Xiaoxi had made a secret decision. My cousin hasn't gotten serious yet, so let's make some arrangements for his life now. Otherwise, when he gets busy, he might not even be able to find a girlfriend at the age of 30. Qingying is so outstanding, and she is a perfect match for her perfect cousin. Chen Xiaoxi had a lot on her mind. Even for a moment, Chen Xiaoxi felt that she was just a clever little ghost. As expected of yourself. The eldest wife and the eldest cousin are a perfect match. Anyway, we don't have any classes this afternoon, so we're just going to have fun. Or, just play near the school, not far away. Seeing that Su Qingying was unmoved, Chen Xiaoxi retreated and settled for the next best thing. It's good to play near the school to create opportunities for the two of you. Otherwise, if you miss this time, you don't know how long it will take. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 128. Chen Xiaoxi looked at Su Qingying pitifully. Those big eyes were shining, blinking at Su Qingying. Seeing the sincerity on her round face, Su Qingying had a headache. Okay, don't look at me like that. Then I'll play with you for a while." After saying that, she looked at Zhang Cheng again, a little apologetically. Zhang Cheng smiled at her. But his eyes couldn't help but give his little cousin a thumbs up. "As expected of you." Su Qingying's conquering speed will not progress too quickly, because Su Qingying is the kind of existence that is difficult to conquer in the play. Therefore, Zhang Cheng is quite satisfied with his current progress. However, with the help of my little cousin, it is not difficult to make progress faster. Wait a minute, I'll have someone send me a car. With that said, Zhang Cheng walked not far away and called Lu Feng. Not long after, Lu Feng drove out in a Porsche Panamera. After he came over, Zhang Cheng took his key and drove him away. "Okay, your mission is completed, go wherever you need to go." Zhang Cheng waved his hand to express his disgust. Lu Feng looked at Zhang Cheng with a look of resentment. "What about my Lamborghini?" Zhang Cheng looked at him in surprise and asked, What Lamborghini? Lu Feng? That's my car. You took away my Lamborghini last time. Zhang Cheng gave him a strange look. That's mine, what does it have to do with you, Lu Feng? Lu Feng suddenly became angry and said quickly, give me the key, this car is mine. What is yours? This is obviously mine. I have all the keys. Does it have anything to do with you? Baffling. After saying that, Zhang Cheng opened the car door and got in. After the two girls got in the car, Zhang Cheng stepped on the accelerator and left the street. Lu Feng was left alone to move against the wind. In the car, Chen Xiaoxi looked at him strangely and asked, cousin, why does Lu Feng listen to you? She didn't know that Lu Feng was a school bully in school. In the Shanghai School of Finance and Economics, apart from Su Qingying, Lu Feng should be the one with the highest status among the students. So Chen Xiaoxi still knew the school bully Lu Feng. But why would the school bully listen to his cousin? Why do children ask so many questions? Where are you going? Today I will be your driver. Zhang Cheng looked at the rear-view mirror in the car and said with a smile. Su Qingying seemed to be thinking about what fun things were around. Looking at her expression, Chen Xiaoxi rolled her big eyes and smiled, cousin, the weather is too hot. I want to go swimming. How nice it is to swim. The weather is so hot, it's perfect for swimming. The smile on Zhang Cheng's lips grew stronger, and he finally grinned, you should find a swimming pool with a good environment. Don't go to a dirty one. With that said, Zhang Cheng took out his mobile phone with one hand and handed it over. The little cousin took the phone with a smile and started to open the navigation map. Seeing the two people deciding where to go as soon as they sang together, Su Qingying on the side was helpless. Don't go to the swimming pool. I can't swim. Let's go to the mall. Su Qingying was still thinking about a fun place, but before she could think about it, her best friend had already decided. There is no doubt that she is a best friend. Honey, it's cloudless now and it's so hot. Let's go swimming. After swimming, we can go shopping. Then we can go back to school after dinner in the evening, Chen Xiaoxi said with a smile. Su Qingying was a little helpless. If you don't want to go, then let me go. I'm going back to school. No. Let's go play in that high-end swimming pool. It won't be messy. Don't go. Half an hour later. In a high-end open-air swimming pool that cost hundreds of millions to build. Two beautiful girls wearing conservative swimsuits walked out slowly. In an instant, it attracted the attention of many people. Regardless of whether they were men or women, their eyes were focused on the two of them, with envy and jealousy. This swimming pool covers a large area and has few people. Mainly because it is high-end, it is expensive and not a place where ordinary people are willing to spend money. On the other side, Mr. Su held 2 pages of A4 paper with dense text printed on them. He picked up the teacup next to him and took a sip of tea. Mr. Su frowned slightly and asked, is this Zhang Cheng the only son of the Zhang family? He just went bankrupt some time ago. Now he is the newly established major shareholder of Tiancheng Group. Su Zhong stood beside him and responded, yes, we are 3 generations of common people. Grandpa Zhang Cheng participated in the anti-Japanese war. After liberation, he farmed the fields for several years. He started his business as a mason until he was worth over 1 billion in the 1990s. In 20 years the former was handed over to Zhang Cheng's father. Because of his long-term vision, he invested in some real estate and important technology companies, thereby rising to a billionaire family. A few years ago, Zhang Cheng's parents were in a car accident and both died. The company's equity was transferred to Zhang Cheng. Within half a year, he suppressed several shareholders who wanted to seize power and took full control of the company's voice. A year ago, he began to focus on investment in the technology industry, and a large amount of money was invested, but in the end, due to an accident, the company was short of funds and had no income from the investment. The company was in debt of 200 billion and filed for bankruptcy a month ago. Not long ago, Tiancheng Industrial Group was registered, with actual holdings of 75%. Its current net worth is estimated at 138 billion. Chief, this is the information that can be found so far. After listening to this, Mr. Su fell into deep thought. As of now, Zhang Cheng's identity is still innocent, and he has a grandfather who is a veteran of the anti-Japanese war. There is no romantic history or negative news. Looking at this information, it seems that he is still a business genius. Mr. Su was silent for a long time and said slowly, "Let's take a look first. It's best if he doesn't approach Qingying because of her identity." Su Zhong nodded and said, "Don't worry, Chief, we have done a good job in keeping Qingying's identity confidential. Zhang Cheng, the son of a businessman, does not have the authority to find out Qingying's identity information. Regarding this, he can still guarantee that the entire Dragon Kingdom wants to keep a person's identity secret, and it is impossible to find out without absolute power. Especially the family members of old chiefs, even contemporary chiefs, are not qualified to investigate." At this moment, the two girls were like dazzling diamonds, attracting the attention of a group of people. Although the dress is very conservative and no different from basic summer wear, swimsuits are ultimately the best clothes for a woman to show off her figure. Chen Xiaoxi took Su Qingying's little hand and said with a smile, "Qingying's wife is so charming. Where's cousin Zhang Cheng?" As soon as he finished speaking, a man with an excellent figure wearing only a pair of swimming trunks slowly walked out. For a moment, all the women around the swimming pool stared blankly at the approaching young man. After being stunned, the eyes of those rich women suddenly shone. "So handsome. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO." Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 129. Yes, so handsome. Because rich women don't say handsome when they look at people. They don't lack money, they only lack love. As long as you give her the happiness she wants, you can get her love. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Porsche, these are not dreams. Most of the people who come to swim in such high-end swimming pools are rich women and socialites. Because this high-end swimming pool is built on the seaside, next to a 5-star hotel, facing the sea, an admission ticket costs 2,000. Therefore, not everyone is willing to come here to spend money. As an integral part of the perfect male inverted triangle body shape, Zhang Cheng has two strong chest muscles that are strong but not too developed, which is the perfect proportion. Under these two chest muscles, the 6 obvious abdominal muscles are also sharp and angular, maintaining a perfect six-pack abs. The shark lines are looming on both sides, giving Zhang Cheng an excellent figure. With the perfect body proportions, Zhang Cheng instantly replaced the two girls and became the focus of everyone's attention. "Ah, he's so handsome. Oh my god, this handsome guy is so stylish. I love him. Have a date with him, and I think I will despise any man." There is no doubt about Zhang Cheng's figure. After all, with the blessing of the suit thug's skills, his physical appearance will naturally be transformed. Wearing a suit and always standing tall is enough to amaze everyone. After taking off the suit, the perfect figure hidden by the clothes was revealed to everyone for the first time. "Wow, wow, wow, Qingying, look at my cousin's figure. I can't do it anymore, the charm is too great." At the edge of the swimming pool, Chen Xiaoxi was the first to scream. No woman can resist the temptation of having a perfect figure and perfect looks. There is one thing that makes Chen Xiaoxi very sad. Why are the most perfect male features in my heart all taken up by my cousin? Su Qingying's eyes flashed with surprise. She had never thought that Zhang Cheng's body proportions would be so good. In her opinion, people with the level of a billionaire CEO should be busy with business matters. As for the figure, if you can keep your beer belly, it's actually pretty good. Zhang Cheng's figure is 100% the envy of all men. Come on, cousin, Chen Xiaoxi waved towards Zhang Cheng. Suddenly, he attracted the envy and jealousy of a bunch of women. Who wouldn't love such a perfect handsome guy? Zhang Cheng smiled slightly, walked slowly towards the direction of the two of them, came to the infinity swimming pool, and said with a smile, "What's wrong?" Chen Xiaoxi did not reply to him, but stepped forward and patted his abdominal muscles. Chen Xiaoxi was shocked when she felt the powerful abdominal muscles. "Cousin, Qing Ying's wife doesn't know how to swim. Come and teach her." After saying that, Chen Xiaoxi smiled slyly. "Hey, I've created another opportunity for you." Su Qingying's expression changed slightly and she said, "No, I got the swimming ring." Zhang Cheng took a look and nodded calmly. "There is no need to go overboard and teach her how to swim. If you say so, it might be counterproductive. Su Qingying has a very weird personality and can be very close to you, but if you go too far, her favorability towards you will definitely drop." Ding. Villain value minus 5,350. Zhang Cheng still spent 5350 villain points to upgrade his swimming and diving skills. After upgrading, Zhang Cheng put his phone on the small table next to him, jumped into the water. After swimming to a corner, Zhang Cheng lay down in the water and entered the system space. He planned to take advantage of this time to sort out all his skills. Because after today, he should completely embark on the path of villain. After delaying it for so long and cutting off 80% of Ye Tian's opportunities, he felt a little lazy. Being content with the status quo might give Ye Tian a chance to make a comeback, but Zhang Cheng didn't want to give it to him. Because on the night of the reception, Zhang Cheng felt the killing intent from Ye Tian. Therefore, he now wants to kill Ye Tian. System, villain system. Host, Zhang Cheng. Wealth, 142.7 billion yuan. Simplify. Villain value, 11,786 points. Backpack, villain gift pack *1, used when the next copy is opened. Disposable attribute points, 0. Attributes, Constitution, 150. Strength, 150. Reactions, 150. Speed, 150. Charisma, 149. Note, the standard for a normal adult male is 100, and the maximum charm value is 149, full. Skills, intermediate cooking, 4399/6000, shooting, entry 2100/4000, fighting, entry 3700/4000, English, advanced max, piano, master max. There are more than 10,000 villain points left. Villain value minus 8,000. Zhang Cheng thought for a while and then increased each of the 4 attributes by 20 points. The attributes must be explosive. Maybe after solving the licking dog in the Demon City, the plot of Dragon King and God of War will come. When 20 points was injected, Zhang Cheng felt the changes in his body again. Very strong. Now, relying solely on his own strength, he is confident that he can beat Ye Tian to death. Just when Zhang Cheng was thinking about how to arrange the current plot to end faster, Chen Xiaoxi's exclamation suddenly sounded. "You pervert, what do you want to do?" Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 130. Hearing his little cousin's exclamation, Zhang Cheng instantly closed the system interface. He quickly searched for Chen Xiaoxi's location. Then, in the center of the infinity pool, he discovered his little cousin and Su Qingying. But at this moment, there were 3 young men who seemed to be lurking under the water and wanted to harass them. When Zhang Cheng saw this scene, his eyes instantly turned cold. Although the two girls were dressed very conservatively, they both wore leggings to get into the water. But Zhang Cheng disagrees with the existence of these people. These three people must die. No matter what the origin. Ding. Villain value -3000. Swimming skills, max. He kicked off the water with his feet, dived directly into the water, and swam quickly in their direction like a shark. Chen Xiaoxi was wearing a swimming ring, and her little feet underwater kept twitching. You perverts, what do you want to do? Chen Xiaoxi looked at the three young men on the water with evil smiles on their faces, eyes flashing with fire. She was swimming just now when she suddenly saw the three of them diving into the water and trying to touch her feet. And she also knew these three people. The family environment is good. They belong to the rich second generation of the upper class circles in Shanghai, and their families have assets of more than 1 billion. Chen Xiaoxi, how about letting me teach you how to swim? A young man smiled when he saw Chen Xiaoxi getting angry. That's right. My brother won't eat you. Look, what's the point of swimming with this swimming ring? Let me teach you how to swim. Young people obviously don't care about Chen Xiaoxi's family. And they don't think they have gone too far. So what if Chen Xiaoxi files a lawsuit? Her cousin who has hundreds of billions is already bankrupt. Can't control them. Go away, who needs your teaching? Chen Xiaoxi yelled angrily. Is this your classmate? Let's play with her. Seeing Chen Xiaoxi's appearance, one of the young men turned his eyes and focused directly on Su Qingying. The eyes suddenly lit up. What a beautiful girl. Although they have read countless girls, they have never seen such a beautiful and elegant girl. Go away. Su Qingying glanced at him coldly and uttered a very rare curse word. She just said not to come to the swimming pool. Hey, you have quite a personality. Come on, let me teach you how to swim. They usually wouldn't tease like this, but I heard that the newly minted Yeshao, who had been playing with Mr. Luo recently, had a bit of a grudge against Zhang Cheng. As vassals of Luo Lizi, they naturally had to show their loyalty. Young Master Luo and young Master Ye were basking in the sun. Therefore, when they saw Zhang Cheng's cousin coming here, they also had the urge to tease her. Chen Xiaoxi saw them swimming towards Su Qingying, and patted the water with her little hands, causing water to splash and hit the three of them. Chen Xiaoxi, are you sick? We are not here to play with you, so get out of here. The young man who opened his mouth said happily after being sprayed with water. Get out of here quickly, or I'm going to call someone, Chen Xiaoxi said calmly. But I was anxious inside. Where is my cousin? Come out quickly. Something happened. The three people stepped on the water bridge, looked at each other, and suddenly laughed. This swimming pool is full of women, who can you call? After saying that, they ignored Chen Xiaoxi, dived directly into the water, and swam separately in the direction of the two women. Seeing them diving into the water, Su Qingying and Chen Xiaoxi's expression suddenly changed. Cousin! Come out quickly, Chen Xiaoxi shouted when she saw a hand suddenly grabbing her swimming ring. The three of them dived under the water, wearing swimming goggles. Just when a young man was about to grab Su Qingying's swimming ring. Suddenly, he saw a figure lurking under the water and swimming quickly in his direction. The young man was suddenly startled and just wanted to swim away. But that figure was faster. A big hand suddenly grabbed his foot and pulled it suddenly, and the whole person was pulled down. The sudden movement caused a large amount of water to be poured into his mouth. Before he could react, a big hand clamped directly on his neck like an iron pincer. Wow! There were splashes on the water, and Zhang Cheng grabbed his neck directly from the bottom of the water and kicked him hard. A feeling of suffocation came, and the young man was extremely frightened. Through the swimming goggles, he only saw an extremely handsome face, filled with coldness. Ginger Cheng. Why is he here? However, the reality did not allow him to think too much. After Zhang Cheng kicked him out of the water, he ignored him and swam towards the other two people. The water is 2 meters deep. Under this situation, Zhang Cheng was like a fish in water, with the blessing of full-level swimming skills and advanced diving. The remaining two people were also quickly pulled back by their legs. Looking at the situation underwater, Su Qingying and Chen Xiaoxi were a little surprised. He stopped swimming backwards and watched Zhang Cheng drag the two of them directly to swim to the edge. "What are you doing?" The intense action here naturally attracted the attention of many people. They were a little surprised when they saw Zhang Cheng dragging two people who were choking out of the water. Ahem, Zhang Cheng, a young man who was dragged up, coughed up a large amount of water. After seeing the person clearly, he woke up instantly and screamed. Zhang Cheng ignored him and dragged him along the tiled road beside the swimming pool. As for the one under the water, he had already climbed up and slipped away by himself. The burning pain coming from his back made the man shout in panic, "What are you going to do?" Zhang Cheng didn't look back and said in a cold voice, "I'll fuck you."